My, what a peculiar place to have a party.
What up?
Welcome, guys.
Back to the rabbit hole in the fishbowl.
Yes, this is Madfish.
And this is Joker. We're going to start off today with the movie we watched last night, which Madfish had not seen, Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which I highly recommend, and Madfish, you do too, right?
Yes, Woody Allen just does a phenomenal job in this film. It just feels like, at first, it's like real life, and there's nothing really extreme that happens, but it somehow captivates your attention completely, and you just... At least I was extremely into it, especially with this Juan Antonio, which...
He inspired you?
Yeah, he completely inspired me. In fact, he inspired me so much that I had to go try and be a little bit of a Juan Antonio today myself.
Okay, to give an example, what Juan Antonio does at the beginning of the movie is he's a Spanish painter, and he approaches Scarlett Johansson and... what's the other girl actress's name? I don't know what her name is. No. It's two pretty girls, and they're in Barcelona, and they've been eyeing him, or Scarlett Jo has been eyeing him, so he goes over and he just plain out states that he wants them to come with him, fly on a plane to his place, his cabin or something.
Yeah. His
cabin, and stay for the weekend and drink good wine, eat good food, and make love. And
all three of them together, of course.
Yeah, and so and that's just a little teaser right there, but you really have to watch it. It's pretty interesting. But this kind of boldness is what inspired you?
It is, exactly. It's like, I just gotta go get it. And that kind of, that slyness that he has, too, just the straight up front.
But slyness makes it sound like you're telling lies and you're not letting him, but he's just super honest.
He's super honest, but in a very peculiar, it's hard to describe if you don't watch it. He's super honest, but super... almost sneaky about it. It's so honest that it's like...
it's in plain sight.
Yeah.
Which I think people... Because one of the girls thinks he's trying to, fuck with them.
Yeah.
And thinks that he's being a little mischievous. But really, he's just stating up front that he wants to have sex with them. And what does he say? He says, life is short, life is full of pain, and this is a moment for us to have a good time.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, what I think he does is he manages to be honest and upfront about things without being vulgar.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So today, I wasn't up to the level of Juan Antonio, but it's just a little.
You got the Euro thing going.
I got the Euro thing going. I had the headband in, and I was at my physical therapy, and for the whole time I was contemplating. I'm like, I wonder what kind of chocolate the really cute girl that sits at the front office, is she a milk chocolate girl or is she a dark chocolate girl?
Why were you thinking about it? Do you think that's reflective of people's personalities?
I think it's extremely reflective of people's personalities, whether you're a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate kind of person.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later, though.
Okay, wait, no, a quick example. A milk chocolate person would be more, what?
A milk chocolate person is a person that doesn't tend to be shallower, but they're just more upfront and more just straight up. But they're kind of more normal, right?
Okay.
The normal person is milk chocolate. If you like dark chocolate, it shows a little bit more sophistication. There's something interesting about you. You don't just like that immediate craving of sugar.
Yeah, you don't just accept the chocolate norms.
Exactly. And so I actually didn't know, because at plain sight, this girl could have just been one of those really cute but hollow people. Because I hadn't really interacted with her at all, other than a few quick conversation, a cute little flirting joke on my way in and out.
Yeah.
So I was really hoping that she would be dark chocolate.
Yeah.
But I kind of had a feeling she might be milk chocolate. And I didn't know whether, what was...
Do you think it's an either or? Do you think it's a binary system?
Well, then that gets into more complicated. But the either or, if a person either likes dark or either likes milk, then that points out to something.
Okay. It's like, I heard that the way that you hold your chopsticks is reflective of how you are as a person. If you hold them really close to the bottom, you're greedy. If you hold them in the middle, then you're balanced and level-headed. And if you hold them at the top, then you're timid. So, but anyway, keep going.
But anyways, I didn't go bold, and I wasn't like, oh, so you're a dark chocolate kind of girl, aren't you? And I was like...
You said that to her?
No, I didn't. That would have been a bit too upset.
I just pictured you stewing in your mind with this thing about chocolate, and then you just go up to her and you go, you like dark chocolate, don't you? And just she'd be like, what the fuck is he talking about?
No, I was very sly, and on my way out, like, I could tell she was kind of like looking at me because it was going to be my last day there.
Yeah. Did she know that?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, okay.
And so she was almost like expecting something. I could tell just by looking at her. So I go up and I'm with friend Tess, and I'm like, so what kind of chocolate do you like? And I was like, oh shit, please say dark, please say dark, please say dark.
She probably thought you were going to buy her chocolates at that point. Well, she didn't think you were making it wasn't a personality test. She didn't know that.
Well, that's kind of what it turned into, because now I feel like I have to get her dark chocolate.
Did she say dark chocolate?
Yeah, she said dark chocolate.
Like,
yes, and then we kind of started talking a bit, and it ends up that she's going to be down in San Diego for a few days, and she's actually going to go to school, physical therapy school there. So
just for a couple days?
Well, she's going to go there now for a few days.
When you're there?
When I might be there and I might not. I think I'll be there.
Yeah.
And then she's actually going to go to physical therapy school there if all works out. So she's like, oh,
for a while.
Yeah. So she's like, I'd love to have someone to show me around San Diego. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
Here is my number, and you can just call me anytime you're in town, and maybe I'll get you some dark chocolate while you're at it.
Did you say that?
I did say that.
Oh, swag.
And then I left, and she actually sent me a text message right away. She's like, "Oh, here, I want you to have my number too." Just
and she's probably a little
So I was like, nice. Like she did wait the nice 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Which in today's world is
that's
forever.
A year. Yeah,
that's a year.
Well, I mean, it's a different situation because she said she was gonna. I feel like I don't know. I feel like that day is still rushed in comparison to the time period that you had set.
Yes, it is, which is good. It showed interest.
Yeah,
and
but now it's on you. Now she's put it on you to message her. Did she tell you the dates that she's going to be down there?
No, she hasn't. Well, she's leaving tomorrow, but that's all I know. I refrained from asking her the dates she's going to be down there yet.
Okay.
We left off at a slightly now it's like my game relies solely on text messaging.
What, you're not gonna... Wait, you're thinking about having conversations with her?
Well, she's, starting to initiate a bit of,
Well, she only told you, here's my number.
Well, yeah, but then she was like, oh, and this and this and this, and...
Oh, she said some other things.
Yeah, and, when are you going down to San Diego?
Did you bite?
I didn't, full-on bite. I wasn't rude in my...
She's gonna set the hook on you. She's trying to set the hook.
She is, but I'm not going to let myself be set. I'm just going to hold on to the bait and swim around with it in my mouth. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I've just been giving generic responses, not rudely short, but not extremely long.
I think it's a really dangerous game to analyze your text messages or any way you converse with people. But that is specifically because you have time to think about what you're going to say. If you're face to face with her, you can't debate what you should say and how long what your cadence should be or anything. Yeah. And I've overheard people talking about that I've had conversations about this. They call it the game, which is just that every time when you're in those conversations with people, I'm not much experienced with the game. I kind of know it, but not really. I hate it. I hate conversations over. I mean, for the most part, because I'd rather just talk to someone in person. Sometimes it's impossible to do.
Yeah.
But I hear them overanalyze, don't send it yet, wait 5 minutes. Or don't say that, no smiley face. And it's this huge, I feel like it just sucks everything out of it.
Oh, yeah, it does. And especially, you get those people that no matter what you write to them, it always takes, exactly 5 minutes for you to get a response. It's
Or just,
I realize you've gotten my text message and you could reply right away. But I know you're waiting, looking at your freaking watch timer, so you think that you are doing something else in the meantime.
Mm-hmm. Texting is a weird thing.
It is.
It's because you're not... Because you're not going to sit by your phone the whole time, or else you wouldn't be doing anything else, and then you might as well be calling someone, but it's delayed conversation.
Exactly. But not too delayed.
But not too... Yeah. But you can't... I'm so bad at when people say things that are or I can't convey jokes. Mm-hmm. So I'll say something, I'll think it's a joke, and people will take it seriously, and that can end up in bad circumstances. Mm-hmm. Like, with one of my ex-girlfriends, we were getting in fights every month. And so,
monthly fight?
Yeah. And
that's when you need a third partner.
What?
To even out.
Oh, you're drawing more inspiration from the movie. No, but I was texting her, and I seriously was like, I was thinking, oh, we have a fight every month. Like, I wasn't relating it to that. Mm-hmm. And I go, I guess it's just that time of the month. And, dude, she fucking flipped.
I bet. That's a subject many women tend to be sensitive on, especially at this age of maturity.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we should go down this topic rabbit hole because it wouldn't. I just wouldn't know anything.
Yeah, we would need a woman guest on here to help.
Well, yeah, but I mean, a woman wouldn't be like the definitive opinion on periods.
Well, it'd be more definitive than ours.
Oh, another funny story is that I don't know. This is from middle school, which it's not that funny, but. I had a presentation in middle school about growing up or something, and I said, because I had just gone to a new school, and I go, I had periods. Like, that was one of my things. I was like, I was so grown up, I had periods now. And everyone started dying laughing, and I didn't know what they were laughing at. And not until after.
Was that what, did you just not realize that was something that didn't happen to men?
No, I meant like class periods.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, see, it's confusing. Like, my schedule was put into like first period, second period. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually quite hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I've like hit this point with the texting, and it's just like, what do I do? Like, do I commence? Like, her last text message was something in the lines of. I do have a bit of a sweet tooth, smiley face. And it's just like...
Sorry, that's... What is that? I just pictured that in a sexual sense.
I mean, can you picture it in any other sense?
I don't know. What is this girl like? You haven't even said what's she like, because I can't...
Well, to be honest, I don't really know.
Yeah. She doesn't want to hang... She's leaving tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's weird. Did she know you were going to school in San Diego?
I feel like she might have.
She's probably just eager to say that then.
Uh-huh. I feel like it was like she was expecting me to say something. She just didn't want to pull the first move.
On another note, though, this is just another one of those examples that, I mean, I outlined this in our Why We Do It section of a little thing that you do that leads, like, this could lead to a bunch of millions of other things.
Yeah, this is a major rabbit hole with a bunch of little rabbit.
Like, you could have,
holes possible to dig out.
It's a labyrinth. You could have sat there and just had fantasies about dark chocolate, asking her what kind of chocolate she liked and seeing her swoon. But you actually did it.
Yeah, so now, like, I have a new world of, like, I have a whole new relationship with a person that I can, like, start building upon.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean relationship in a romantic sense, of course. Just, like, a person that can, like, somehow intertwine in my life in some way that probably would have never intertwined if it wasn't for that little, like, hint of comment of outgoingness.
Yeah. And the movie inspired you?
The movie inspired me, so...
What else do you like? Let's talk about the movie. What else do you like about the movie?
Well, as I said, I think one of the most genius attributes of the movie is that, especially at the beginning, there's nothing really, like, out of the ordinary happening. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like two people going along their normal life while they're abroad in Barcelona. And then gradually you get little hints of, like, extreme events, like this flying over to this random place with this random guy that wants to make love to these women. But it's still not extremely out of the ordinary. And yet, just the way it's arranged and the way everything is set up, it keeps you extremely hooked. And I've seen a bunch of movies where it doesn't do that. Like, the ordinary happens and you're just like, God, this is boring.
But it seemed like it's very real people addressing a very real, not an issue, but a very real phenomena in real, like with people who are the one girl wants the counterintuitive love, and the other girl wants to be grounded and committed. I thought it was interesting. I don't want to ruin the end of the movie for people. It's hard to talk about the movie
without ruining it.
Yeah, but also so that people who haven't seen it, who could be listening, would understand. I don't know. You haven't seen any other Woody Allen movies?
I've seen Midnight in Paris.
Yeah, that doesn't count though. You gotta see like the Woody Allen movies where he's actually in it. Midnight in Paris is a great movie. Mm-hmm.
So I've seen the only 2 Woody Allen movies where Woody Allen isn't acting in it.
No, he has other movies that he's not acting in, but his heyday, he produces just about a movie a year, and in his heyday, he was making. He usually plays the same neurotic Jewish character who likes to talk about sex a lot. Well. That makes him sound like a deviant or something. That's not true. That's not true. But he's just really witty and like it's fucking funny. I can give you a list of movies.
I shall go down that list and watch them one by one.
I have all of them too. Well, I have a lot of them. Yeah, dude. He's good. All right. What else?
Well, today you said that you kind of hit a nirvana moment with your familiar situation.
With what?
Like, with your relatives and upon the cookie making phenomenon?
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, this shit happens all the time. Like, I went over to dinner after so the meditation course, so far the effects on me have been, at the beginning, I was way more, like, with my sisters, I get really upset at things they say, and I kind of, like, go off, and I get all wound up because of it, but when I came back, I was really calm when I was around them. Like, the first day I was back, or one of the first days I was back, I went over for dinner, and they were bitching about how they didn't have an iPad, and how my mom should buy them an iPad. And then they were arguing over who should get one first. And they're like 20, they're like in their late 20s, or like early 20s.
Early or late?
Well, one's in their late 20s, the other one's in their mid-20s.
Alright.
Yeah. So... And usually I would be like, you guys need to shut the fuck up. And I'm like, you guys are spoiled and all this shit. Okay. But I didn't say anything. I was super calm. And I've kind of, to be honest, since the meditation course, I've waned in my equanimity. But tonight I was really strangely calm too. And they were trying to argue with me about something. And I was being like fairly calm. And I wasn't raising my voice. Usually a lot of times I'll raise my voice or I'll get in shouting matches. It's really easy to do with them. And so I was really calm. And then my sister, she wanted cookies. She made dough for cookies.
Classic.
Yeah. What? No. Okay. She made dough for cookies, and she didn't want to roll them because it would get her hands greasy or dirty or sticky or something. And so she's Mom, she sounded,
like a puppy dog that was gonna.
Yeah. I don't want to make this into a thing about talking shit about her, but this is just what happened. No, and I was super calm. She's like, Mom, will you do this for me? Will you do this? Like, please, come on. I can't do it. She said she couldn't do it. She can. She just doesn't want to. And my mom was like, all right, seriously, you got to do this for yourself. And she went upstairs, and then she came downstairs, and the cookies weren't being made, and she was like, what the fuck? And so I was sitting on the couch, and I was just about to leave. I was getting my keys, and my mom goes, Louis, why don't you do it? I go, no, I think my sister, I was like, she should do it. She should stop being such a bitch and do it. I didn't mean it in like
aggressive term?
No, yeah, when I said bitch there, it sounded really aggressive. I meant bitch like people who bitch out of doing things.
Don't be such a bitch.
Yeah, yeah. And she was just being a bitch.
Yeah.
And then she called me a misogynistic asshole. Who didn't learn anything from the gender studies class that I took.
Did you learn something from the gender studies class you took?
Yeah, it's funny. I went in thinking I would disagree with a lot of things, but there were... I found myself disagreeing more with I was like all girls in the class. It was me and two other guys. And I found myself disagreeing more with the girls in the class who were saying things, some of them, than the teacher. Like, I thought the teacher and the subject matter was really, really interesting and applied to a lot of different things. But the people in the class I just couldn't stand.
So the people in the class were being kind of like hardcore feminists, in a sense.
Yeah. I don't know if I would label them like that. They would probably call themselves feminists, but I don't know. I didn't necessarily think all these feminist bitches. I was more just some things that they said were. I'm trying to think, like really possessive about. Like there was just one girl who was really possessive about. She was saying like, if I have a man, like he's mine, his body's mine. All that stuff, and it made it sound like that was progressive.
Yeah.
I was like, that's some shit. Like that's like I don't know what you're talking about.
Is that because then the same exact problem? Like girls are kind of standing up for that in terms of, man, if a guy's like, oh, this girl is mine. Like when I'm with her, I own her. Like that kind of stuff, but like switching it around.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's something. This is a good subject because in high school I was in a psychology class and we did a study. We had to do a psychological study, a social experiment type thing for a school project. Me and my friend got together. We were thinking about all the things we could do, and we decided to stage domestic violence in public. So we were going to have one of us. It was supposed to be me and a friend of ours, this girl, and let's call her. What should we call her? Stacy. Okay, Stacy. So Stacy and me and McCoy from the last episode.
McCoy.
So yeah. So me and McCoy decided that we were gonna stage an argument in public at the mall near our school, and we were gonna approach people and pretend like we were having an argument about directions. Yeah. About where we're supposed to. One person wanted to ask for directions, the other one didn't. And then when the one who was asking for directions didn't listen and kept asking for directions, the other one would slap the other one in the face.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we were going to do it both ways. And so I started out, and we had a survey too. Yeah. So the third person had a video camera and a survey. So the third person.
But did they stay hidden?
Yeah, they stayed hidden, and people were really unsuspecting. They don't expect anything like that to happen. So no one saw the camera. And so I had a survey, and the survey would ask. I'm trying to remember everything on the survey. The survey would ask, how much pain did you perceive in the slaps? Now, we're not perfect at making them equal, but we tried to make them as equal as possible. So how much pain did you perceive in the slap? How immoral did you think that the action was? Like, how justified was it? And then there was a question at the end that that was altered each time we gave it to someone randomly. It laid out the scenario where it said a man comes home and finds his wife cheating on him and slaps her painfully, but she doesn't bleed. How acceptable is this action from a scale of 1 to 10? And then we did it the other way around. A wife comes home to find her husband cheating, she slaps him. How acceptable is that 1 to 10? And we also asked the question, I think, how acceptable is domestic violence, or how acceptable is violence between partners? And so the first time I was up, and I couldn't do it, dude. I was really nervous. Well, I was the one to get slapped first, so we made a mistake by approaching people from behind, which you never do. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't do. I realized at the very beginning, like, you don't approach someone from behind that they don't know you and start yelling things at them or, like, try to talk to them, because they get really spooked. And actually, it's a study done in, in stores for marketing or sales, that you don't want to put the aisles too close together, because if someone's looking at something and they get brushed from behind, they're like way less likely to buy whatever it is. Oh, wow. Isn't that weird?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we approach these people from behind, and Stacy starts going, hey, do you know where like so-and-so street is? I say, hey, do you know where so-and-so street is? She goes, I told you not to ask for directions. And I said, no, I was just going to ask her, it's going to be easier. I said, do you know where so-and-so? She goes, no, I told you to stop. She turns me around and slaps me. And so we walk away, and I hear behind me, someone go, like, she got you, boy, or something like that. And people were laughing. Yeah. People were laughing that I got slapped. And I got slapped pretty hard. And so then my friend tried to follow them, get them from behind too, and they didn't listen to him. Yeah. They wouldn't do the survey. Yeah. And they were pretty pissed off. He was like, yeah, those people were pissed. But then we went a bunch of times where I was gonna slap, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, dude.
Did you ever end up slapping her?
No, I never did. I did in practice. We practiced before, but I never did it. And so McCoy had to fill in for me.
And how was that?
Well, so then we got about 20 people, 10 and 10. So that's not a large sample size. I realize that. But here's what I found. And it seemed pretty consistent with what we thought we would find. Yeah. So, when hit people...
McCoy?
Yes. McCoy. When McCoy hit people... We'll bleep that. What is that? 24. Okay. When McCoy hit people... When McCoy hit Stacy... People... You can see this on the video. Their jaws just dropped. And they were so pissed. Like, one person went after him. One person started yelling at him. And she... What did she say? She said that... When I approached her afterwards, I go, it wasn't real, nothing, like, that was all staged. And she goes, good, because I was about to go take his head off or something, because she was a mom with her daughter. And then I gave her the survey, and like, that happened continuously. People just, their jaw dropped, and they were stunned. They were pissed off, too. And they were hard to talk to, and they would be like, "Violence is not okay in any situation." Because I tried to get kind of off the cuff remarks that weren't necessarily, because I was trying to get as much information as possible. And then when Jamie got hit, you can see on the video, people's jaw drop, and then they just start giggling. Yeah, they just start laughing. They can't, and I go up to them and I give them the survey, and they still think it's funny, and they say the same thing. Someone says, violence is never acceptable in any situation. Oh, okay. Everyone says that. Yeah. Everyone's like, violence is never acceptable. There's like it's like their moment to like show how moral they are. It was funny. People would just go off on rants about this stuff, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then I look at their scores, like what they scored, and they said like, oh, it was kind of okay for the wife to hit the husband after he cheated on her. So that's not consistent. But anyway, so then we look at the numbers and how much pain was perceived, and McCoy was perceived to have way less painful slaps, even though they were like, you could see her in practice. It was pretty funny in practice. Her eyes just lit up when she was about to slap us. You could see her. We'd say the lines, and her eyes would go wide, and she'd just rear back and just fucking go after us. And there was one slap where he got her. McCoy got her really, really badly. And anyway, so it was just on average lower numbers for him and higher numbers for her. And in the same thing in the scenario that is at the end, it was higher numbers. It was more acceptable for the wife to hit him, and it was less acceptable for him to hit her.
So the data showed a clear trend, what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it was a small sample size, it was a clear trend reflected.
Yeah. It was a small sample size, but I mean, I guess that's all you can say. But yes, it did show a trend, and it was kind of what we expected. And it was interesting because I was telling my sisters about this, and they thought it was like the most sexist thing ever to do it, and it was ridiculous. But to me, it's kind of like two sides of the same coin, in the sense that like you're saying like, oh, that's the one advantage, like the one disadvantage men have in the whole scheme of things. Like, fuck you. But in a sense, like to be more of like more fragile viewed as more fragile by as everyone else, and less almost less eligible to morality, you know? Yeah. Then that's the same. That produces all the other things of like not getting paid as much, all those different things. Like I said this to someone. I don't know if you agree with this. I said, like, you know how when ships are sinking, everyone's like, women and children in the boat, or like, how can you kill women and children? Yeah. Or like how like women and children are always the victims. Yeah. Or like, and it's like likening them to children. No. And I've said like, if you want to. This sounds blunt, but like if you want to get paid the same amount, you can't be the first ones in the lifeboat. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I do know what you're saying, and I think it's.
I wish we had a female.
I know
on board,
this is where the
or someone someone to like counter what we're saying, because I think we're going to agree on all this, but we can just spell it out, and whoever's listening is free to comment, or tweet at us, or do anything. Please continue the dialogue, because I think it's helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're biased men, and we'll admit to that.
Well, so maybe we
may be biased men,
or we're just biased people.
Biased people, regardless.
But our masculinity will probably come into
indeed. I believe that On average, I think it stems from the fact that, on average, I'm not saying there's not women that are physically stronger than men or vice versa, but on average, the male is the stronger person physically.
Yeah.
And that's just because through evolution, he has become the dominant sex in terms of being physically. I'm not taking away anything from women spiritually or mentally or anything, but just physically, the fact of science is that men on average tend to be bigger and stronger than women.
Yes.
And I think that puts men at an advantage in society right away because we are bigger and stronger, and a lot of dialogue and a lot of problems are, especially started like a few centuries ago, were solved by force.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're starting to see kind of a bit of a shift in the way our society is going. Like, you can tell that this is one of the time periods where there's been the least amount of wars fought ever. And it's
less people are getting killed today than ever before.
Exactly. It's the kind of the way direction humanity is going is towards a more peaceful society. That's kind of, the fighting doesn't happen at the physical level, but it happens at the mental level. It happens like psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a bit of an interesting phenomenon where women all of a sudden have a bit more say in things because they're not
interesting. How do you call that an interesting phenomenon?
Well, no, it is an interesting phenomenon because, like, if you compare it to the rest,
that
of
makes it
history,
sound like it's a new
trend.
But a trend is all trends come like a new. I don't keep going.
Yeah, you guys. I'm not trying to be sexist.
I'm just trying to whatever. Yeah. Let's just keep going.
And basically, this is showing that women have more power, more say in things. And it's not due to being physical in any sort of way. And at that point, there's still kind of remnants of that old ways in our society, though, which is reflected in cases of like domestic abuse and stuff, because a woman most of the time is going to lose to a man in like a hands-on just battle if they're going to fight, which might be why the public is skewed on being slightly overprotective towards women and seeing them in the category as children.
You think but I don't know.
Well, what do you think?
Dude, I think there's a huge mental side to, like, the stigma is that men are independent, and like if you're gonna put it down to like two things, if you're gonna simplify all the stereotypes about men and women, is that men are independent and women are dependent.
Okay, but that's going like...
And that's more mental than physical.
But don't you think that's...
Men act, women appear, all that stuff.
But don't you think that stems from the fact that men are stronger physically? That in the older, like, caveman era, they had to fend off the saber-toothed tigers and stuff.
Do we know that that's true, though? Do we know that that's true?
Well...
I mean, but you're a biology person.
Yeah, I'm not.
But you're not
in human evolution. Expert in human evolution, but there is some examples like the Amazonians, like where there were tribes or certain sects of people where the women were stronger and like leaders, but that's not the common arching effect.
Okay, wait, I have like a connection to put back and see if this matches. We're talking about like dependency and independency.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about this girl who you just texted. So you approach her, and you take the action. She's been looking at you, right? She's just been looking at you, though. She hasn't done anything. You take the action, and you, like, put the ball in her court, and immediately she puts it back in your court. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, that kind of falls over.
Yeah, the same thing.
Is that, like, now it's your responsibility to act.
Yeah. And I feel like... That's a very common thing, especially in like pursuing relationships. It's guys are always expected to do the work. Like, we're always expected to initiate. And do you think that ties back into this whole kind of violence things and women feeling inferior on some aspects, but kind of...
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, how do you think the fact that this girl approaches me and puts the ball in my court, and that as a general trend, it is men that are expected to pursue women?
Well, okay, wait, hold on. I'm just thinking about this. This is a thought I had on the same thing. Mm-hmm. Is that would you picture you or one of your friends? Let's say you always, I don't know. Would you say like do men do the same thing where like a girl will approach them, the girl will give them their number, and then they'll send it back.
Well, I'm sure it happens sometimes, but I feel like as a general trend, if a guy's going to be, if I'm approached by a girl, I'm either just going to be like shocked and flat and unable to respond, which has happened to me before with Belle Pastry Girl.
Oh yeah, she shouted at you.
Yeah, she shouted at me.
You still haven't gone by there.
I still haven't gone by there. But see, that's me being expected to put the
listen. Yeah. Well, no, not really. I mean, she was working, and then she I don't know.
Yeah, that's a unique scenario.
She shouted at you. That sounds like action to me. What was I gonna say? Oh, for all your rabbit holers out there, even the rabbit hole host avoid certain or fail to go down certain rabbit holes sometimes.
Yes, indeed. Like going down rabbit holes.
It's so. Sorry.
It can be like intimidating sometimes.
It's super intimidating.
It's like basically going down a rabbit hole entails you kind of getting out of your comfort zone.
But it's all about getting to that point of no return, which is really soon on. You just do it, and then you just like start that first step, and then you're on your way. But it's the first step that's the hardest. And
you feel so good about it afterwards.
Yeah, even if things like don't go well.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, at least I tried. Like, I didn't lose any. I didn't forget to peek into any holes like that.
It's so painful though to not go down them, and then you think about them later, and you just go. Fuck. But to some extent, you gotta learn from those things.
Yeah, you do. And I feel like I learned from Belle Pastry, not going down that rabbit hole, and applied it to this next physical therapy rabbit hole. But yeah, it's back to the dynamics between men and women. I think this is a very peculiar topic, and if we could get some more, maybe we should do a little psychological study on our own and report back on this. Yeah.
Oh, here's another one. Mm-hmm. I think you can go on YouTube and watch this video. Someone told me this. I haven't watched the video, but I think a lot of people have seen this. So you have they send a white dude out to a bike rack that has locked bikes, and he starts sawing away at the thing. And people just walk by it, and they don't say anything. Yeah. And then you have a black dude go, and he starts sawing away, and everyone calls the cops. And everyone's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Is this real?
This is a real thing. I think it's on YouTube. Just type in black guy stealing a bike or something like that. I think it's on there. Hold on, we can look. Anyway, so then they send, and then afterwards they say, oh, this is just a study, this isn't serious.
Okay.
And then they send a really hot white girl out there, and everyone tries to help her. Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, and this brings me to a topic that a lot of times people are like, oh, dude, you're being racist by saying that, or by even assimilating those things and saying that black people aren't equal to white people under every single scenario, and that men and women are not absolutely 100% equal, and kind of like what your sister was saying for calling you what'd she call you?
A misogynistic asshole who didn't learn anything from his gender class.
Exactly. I feel like comments like that are thrown out there so many times.
Yeah, dude, it's such a fallback. Oh my god, it's such bullshit. Whenever I disagree with her, she says I'm gaslighting her. Do you know what gaslighting is?
I do not. What's gaslighting?
Gaslighting is a term. It's 2.8 million views. What would you do? Bike theft. Gaslighting is a term. Let's watch. It's on YouTube. That's all I can say. Gaslighting. It's based. It was. I think it's from a movie, an old movie where, this guy he was cheating on. He was fucking with his wife. I don't know. I think he was cheating on her. He was gonna kill her. Or he was up to no good. And to make her seem like she was crazy, he would turn the gaslight on and off, and she would be like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he'd be like, "Oh, what do you do? You must be going crazy or something." Or if you read, what's that thing you read in high school? The yellow wallpaper or something. I don't know. But regardless, it's just basically making men. It's a tool men would use against women to make them feel like they're going insane. Mm-hmm. Is to be like, oh, you're
to justify their actions.
But yeah, to be like, oh, you're just being a woman. You're just doing woman things. To be like, oh, you're only angry at me because you're on your period. Yeah, that would be considered gaslighting.
Got it.
And so just disregard anything a woman says because of womanly things. And so they think that every time I disagree with them, it's fucking gaslighting.
Yeah,
Stupid.
Yeah, but it's not. And also on that same matter, like a lot of time, I'll bring out like a statistic, like say, on average, black people on average tend to get lower test scores in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, "Oh, dude, that's so racist, man." It's just like, I mean, it's not really racist. First of all, I'm just saying a statistical fact. Second of all, I'm not like saying black people are like less worthy. I'm just saying maybe it's the fact that because they have a generally lower income because they're being discriminated against, that this results because they can't get better education. I'm just simply saying, though, that on average, they tend to get some lower test scores than white people.
An interesting social experiment, another one. Mm-hmm. We've been all up with social experiments there, or psychological studies, is they have an interview room, and they have the person who's being interviewed wired to a heart monitor, and they send in a white person, and their heart's just normal. They send in a black person, they're like, their heart's beating faster.
Yeah.
Like, so like, if you were talking about in a physical sense, they're like ready for, they're like on alert essentially every time, and it's like, imagine living in a place where like every time you walked in a room, everyone was fucking scared of you. And I think they had I don't know much about this, but like I took a class in high school called Race Matters.
Oh, clever title.
And I got an A, which means that I must know everything about all this stuff. No, I was joking. This is like a lot of stuff that I studied there, but I think it's funny how some people, they're like, I took, like the girl in the movie was like, I study Catalan culture. And then it's like, what the fuck? What does that even mean?
It means you know something about Catalan culture.
It's like totally theory-based. And then I'll think like, but anyway, so then another one is, I think this is the experiment. So they have people walking down the hallway. Yeah. And the subjects walk down, and you send big people at them, and you see how long it takes for them to get out of the path of the person. Because you know when you're walking down the street, and there's always like an unsaid maneuvering of where you're supposed to go. But it's like totally unconscious.
I've often thought about that. It's like there's been days where I'm like, I'm just not going to move over for anybody.
Yeah.
But like sometimes people still like almost run into.
Yeah, because I think it's not really a conscious thing. It's just something you see someone, and like just by sizing them up, you immediately like act differently without thinking. And you were talking about Vietnam the other day, which I haven't been to, but you said like the streets are like a river of mopeds. Yes. And when you walk through them and they part around you, but if you make any sudden motions, then you're gonna
cause an accident. Like I've seen people cause accidents because they were like tried to dodge someone, and the guy on there was like, "What the heck? Why are you trying to dodge me? I'm just gonna dodge you."
Yeah. But anyway, so they had a test where they sent big people down the hallway, and they'd see how long it took. Like, the more scared you are of someone, or the more fearful, I guess, you are, or the more aware you are of them, you're going to move out of the way faster. And so it was just like they just measured it by distance, and if you were a black person, people moved out of the way faster. Well, or maybe it was like that. I don't know, but like there was definitely a difference between the two.
Let me bring you up an interesting point, and I believe that if you did that exact same study in Africa, where predominantly people are black, and there's a white person.
Not North Africa, like sub-Saharan.
Yeah, like sub-Saharan Africa.
Or West Africa. Yeah.
A similar effect would be observed. Maybe it wouldn't be the same one, but
what do you mean?
Because it's based on the stereotype of
where everyone's basically black.
Yeah, and you're the only white. Have you ever had that experience?
Oh, and you're a white person.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, no.
Well, it's kind of it's weird.
Wait, what effect do you think would happen?
Well, I think
people would get out of your way sooner.
I think people would get out of your way sooner. But that depends, of course, on how white people are interpreted in that culture. Like if these were, say, black people that had never seen a white person before, they would probably get out of the way.
Well, if they'd never seen a white person.
Yeah.
I don't think there are many people out there who have never seen a white person.
So pretend you went to a tribe that had never seen a white person before. And you did the same thing of experimenting and walking down a hallway.
I mean, they'd probably all approach you.
Well, no, I think they'd be fearful because it's something new, and people are afraid of the new. It's that relationship we talk
things
about.
They don't understand. Yeah. Okay. this is a good segue into a new thing that I've been wanting to bring up. And it's something I can't believe I haven't told you about this metaphor, because this metaphor drives me nuts all the time, and I think about it all the time.
Shoot.
It's not a metaphor. Well, it's a social experiment.
All right.
One I've tried to dig up for the longest time, because someone told me about it, and they're reliable source, but I cannot find out where. It was done in like the 1920s at Stanford or something. Mm-hmm. So they get an open field. And they put a fence in the open field. Yeah. And they put people into this little fenced-off area. Mm-hmm. And they spread out. And they start exploring. Then they bring them back, and there's no fence. And everyone clumps together in the middle.
That's extremely bizarre.
Dude, okay. I'm going to tell two more stories, and we're going to dissect these, because these are real-life things. Okay. My dad's friend had a friend who went to Mexico, and back, I think it was a while ago, but in Mexico, he was like in a deep part of Mexico, and there, like, any drug dealing, you go to jail, like, immediately. Yeah. And especially if you're an American, like, dude, they're gonna fuck you over, and they're gonna. It's not like a stable system. Yeah. So anyway, this guy gets approached on the street by someone trying to buy drugs, and he's like, no, I don't. And then the police come. Yeah. And they take him to jail. And sorry, I'm thinking about how these are going to connect to the last one, but I'm just going to say we can go through all of them. Yeah. If you don't think these connect at all, it's fine. So he gets sent to jail, and they keep asking for more and more money. Like, we want this much money, and then we'll let you go. We want this much money, and then we'll let you go. They won't give him a phone call or anything, so he's just fucking stuck. Yeah. It's like we always like to think we're always going to be connected, but I feel like there are definitely places out there where they're just going to be the nowhere that we've always feared that we would end up in, and this guy's in the nowhere. And so he's out at break one day, like out in the, like wherever the common, like the dirt field. There's a fence around the place, and the gate's open, and he looks, and he sees the security guard is asleep. And so he just walks out.
So he escaped from Mexican prison.
Yeah, he just walked out.
Escaping from Mexican prison sounds extremely difficult.
Yeah, and like the guard was just asleep, and he just walked out.
New show, Mexican Prison Break.
The guard, yeah.
Gerardo.
And then, okay, there's the next story. And I was thinking about this after we fished, and also after... I've been thinking about this a lot. I go home, and we have this little, like... When our dogs... when we leave, we have to put our dogs in a pen. But it has to... We take out... It's a collapsible fence. Yeah. So we take out the fence, but it's really light fence, and it's not anchored to anything. Yeah. So... Whenever I'm there, I think, whenever I put the fence on, I go, stupid dogs. Like, if you just ran full speed at this...
it would go down.
It would go down.
Yeah.
Oh my, I have another story after this. It would go down. And I just look at them and I go, you're so stupid. Just run through it. It would go down if you just ran through it. And then when we caught that fish the other day, and we put it in your pond and we set it up kind of flimsily on the rock with the net, I was thinking, like, just swim as fast as you can at it and you'll knock it down. Yeah. And, I mean, he wouldn't have been able to go anywhere, but he didn't know that. But still, and then it just hit me and I go, oh. And I started thinking about all the different restrictions I feel like I have in my life, or things that would be holding me back. And I think, like, I'm just as stupid as these fucking dogs. Yes. I'm just as stupid as this fish. As I just think that there are some things that are just impossible to take down just because I've been trained that way. You think that there are things that are just impossible that you can't do because you're not strong enough, or like because you don't know what's on the outside, and that's essentially what it comes down to with the fence thing. Is that like the unknown scares the fucking shit out of us.
And even if there's like a slight boundary, it's psychologically huge because you're like, oh, like this boundary is like there for a reason. It's like it must be protecting me in some sort of way.
But in the same way that the boundaries, and I was thinking about this the other day. The cops, the police system, dude, it's totally based on us believing in the police system. Yeah. Like, the fact that you can just throw someone in a fucking prison, like, that's not based in anything tangible, or, like, it's all relative to how we just, everyone agrees, like, hey, yeah, if this happens, then, like, these people are allowed to do that. And all power comes from perceiving the power that it has.
Well, yeah, that's the same thing, like, getting over the police. Like, the government, like, the army. Like, oh, like the army has the power to do even more than the police. It's just like, and it's okay because we're okay with that thing.
Yeah, because, and I was thinking about it, it's like the fence in the open field. Like, the fence is just arbitrary. And beyond the fence, it's just more open field.
Exactly.
But they feel like within the confines of the fence that you can have freedom, which is interesting. Within the confines of something, you can be free.
Yeah, and I think this kind of like illustrates the like humans' teeter-totter balance between curiosity and fear of the unknown. It's like humans can be
safety in the unknown.
Yeah, humans can be extremely curious in a comfortable setting, like when they kind of know everything is okay and there really is little danger. But when you like start like giving into the unknown and like putting someone in a really just like unfamiliar situation, they like close themselves in and their natural like instincts take over. Yeah,
it's kind of like going down rabbit holes when, like, to have a rabbit hole, to have something be like your I don't know, like your wild thing that you do, you have to have like the safe things that you do. So like within the confines of your safety, you venture out and then venture back. You know, I feel like for a lot of my life, like I've taken like little steps, little steps out, and then little more,
jump back in,
and then a little more, and then I come back, and then a little more, and then I come back.
You're like kind of slowly expanding that fence, like just like picking it up, like looking around, just like dropping it 2 feet further.
Well, no. I think. Yeah, I mean, kind of, but I was more thinking, like, I go outside the fence.
Oh, you go outside?
I go outside the fence for a while, and then I come back.
All right.
I go outside the fence for a while, and then I come back. That's kind of what...
But then wouldn't you be slowly kind of, like, expanding the fence? Because the things you go outside the fence, you'd realize that they're not so bad, and you should start doing them more.
I guess, well, see, this is where the Mexican prison story comes in, is when this person told me the story, they said... The guard's always asleep and the gate's always open. So, like, we think about fences, and a lot of people would, like, think about all the people who... I mean, I am one of these people. I used to be more so. But, like, the people who complain about all the other things that are pulling them back. Like, that Burning Buddha movie. What is it called? Is it Burning Buddha?
Yeah.
The Bitter Buddha.
The Bitter Buddha.
Like, it wasn't... we fell asleep. But at the beginning, Eddie Pepitone, what does he say? He says, the only things holding me back today or... bad weather, bad brain chemistry, bad upbringing, all these different things. Like, you can blame all these other things.
Bad genes.
Yeah, that, like, hold you back or, like, fence you in. But in the end, like, the guard's always asleep and the gate's always open. And, like, you can always run full speed at the fence. And it's never really there. It's kind of like a perceived thing. So, like, your freedom within the laws of our... society, like, just, like, thinking, like, just, like, the laws all around us. Like, that's not really... That's just kind of like a believed safety. But there really isn't one. But it's like a believed safety that we need to operate. Because if we realized... Because, like, what you would get out then is that if there is no fence, then it's all unknown. And then if you realize that, then...
You're kind of scared.
You would clump up in the middle. And you would try... You want to find some sort of...
A fence to live within.
Like a baseline to say... From. Yeah, because... And this is where that book, Denial of Death, gets into, that we talked about in the first podcast, is that it's really like that safety, that it's like your fear of death that wants you, that leads you toward that kind of safety. Yeah. That illusory. Something
like that.
Illusion-based safety. Yeah.
But I think this like goes even beyond fear of death, because someone can be completely not afraid of dying and still feel that kind of fear of the unknown, because death is kind of like...
Do you have like a personal example or something? Because I don't really know what you're talking about.
Well, my personal example is me.
Oh my god.
It's actually...
Sorry, I'm just laughing that we're at 53 minutes already. It's weird, dude.
Yeah. Well, the example is me. I would classify myself as not being afraid of death. Like, I'm genuinely not afraid of dying, and it's just like something that's common, because like if death comes, like I know that it will come from me, like having lived the way I wanted to live right now, which is a good thing. But I still find myself kind of holding back at the unknown. And it's not even like the unknown in terms of like going out and exploring an unknown woods. Like, I'm fine with doing that. It's almost like the unknown within our society, like unknown within like social interactions, because those don't necessarily those won't account to death really. So I think it goes beyond the fear of death.
I don't know, but I'm not. It doesn't necessarily need to be physical death. The death of the self, the death of the self.
Death of the self.
The death of the self, like to venture into new worlds is to kind of undermine your current state.
Yeah. Yes. So it's kind of like the death of what you are in the current moment.
Yeah, because to hold on to things that are, you wanted them to be permanent, and that includes yourself.
Yeah.
And all the things that you stand for, or say that you stand for, and all your different attributes that you think you have. And so to go outside that sometimes can be, and to make yourself vulnerable. Because that's like what the whole wanting to be inside the, like to go outside the fence is to become vulnerable. And that's a hard thing to force yourself into, but once you're there, it's like it's kind of addictive, and
it kind of goes back then to the fear of change, like the fear of changing, the fear of things as they are now changing.
Your effort to remain as you are is what limits you.
Exactly.
And I'll get to the fence too, dude. Dude, I pissed my girl. Well, I didn't piss her off, but she's heard a lot about the fences.
Oh, she has.
Yeah, I talk about the fences a lot. But I think they're a really apt metaphor for a lot of different things.
No, it's an extremely accurate one. And it's, like, accurate in a physical sense, too, that, like, a small fence can actually... Like, we're only as smart as a dog that can't run through a little plastic fence or a fish.
I looked at him so condescendingly. I just go, you fucking idiot. And here's another story. Dude, there's so many things that relate to this. Like, a goldfish will only grow to the size of its bowl. Same with an iguana, or I think it's an iguana. Like, if you give an iguana a small cage, it won't grow past it.
Wait, that's actually a myth.
Is that not true?
No.
The goldfish one?
No, the goldfish and the iguana actually will grow. It just depends on the size, the amount of feed them.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, then, the good thing you're here. Now, I won't say that anymore and spread lies. Okay.
Find out the hard way with my fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but this is one I don't think you're going to refute, but this is a baby elephant at a small age is tethered to a pole by a rope on its leg. A little small rope, but when it's younger, it's not big, so it can't break through the rope. And so when it grows older, it still has the rope on it. Yeah. But and even though if it really tried, it could get away, it doesn't. It just it feels the rope and it stays tethered to where it is. And they actually take it off sometimes. And he stays.
Yeah, and then that goes back to the Helsinki Syndrome or the Stockholm Syndrome.
Falling in love with your kidnapper.
Yeah, the thing is, like, after a while you've been kidnapped, you're kind of afraid to, like, you miss being kidnapped. Like, once you get freed, it's just like it's almost like you're in a... Yeah.
You don't have personal experience with this.
I don't have personal experience with this, but I know the syndrome.
You know what movie you have to watch is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. You would fucking love this movie.
Alright, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
And Dale versus Evil. Fuck, I should have added it. It's not really on a disturbing... It's a dark comedy, but... Dude, it's so funny, and you'll see why I mentioned it, because you mentioned the Stockholm Syndrome. Oh my, it's the funny...
Is it the Helsinki or the Stockholm Syndrome?
Stockholm.
Alright, cool.
I don't know what How's Helsinki? Is that...
Helsinki is the capital of Norway.
Oh, so you just named like a Norwegian or a
Norway
Scandinavian place?
Norway is Oslo, Helsinki is Finland.
Okay, whatever. Okay. Dude.
Yeah?
Is this the last one, or are we doing another one tomorrow night? What do you think?
It could. I think I'm feeling kind of another one, but yeah, dude, we'll see.
This one, when I looked at the clock after like a minute, and I go, whenever these start, I go, oh shit, how are we? I think how are we gonna fill up an hour talking? And then I looked later when I mentioned McCoy's name, and it was 25, and I go, holy shit! And then the next time I look, it's 53.
Yeah, it's crazy how once you actually get on a roll of a conversation, it just kind of somehow overrides whatever time sensors you have in your brain, and you can just speed forward.
And when I listen to them afterwards, I'm always kind of stunned at how much we touched on. And
Yeah.
I go, oh, I remember talking about that. Oh, that was cool. Or, I mean, I think, like, oh, we shouldn't, like, that was bad. But still, at the same time, it's just, like, we get to so many different things.
We do so many rabbit holes.
Yeah, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When I talk though, sometimes I think I'm repeating myself because like I've said the fences thing like a million times to other people, so I feel like a broken record. But hopefully people who are listening will find this helpful,
indeed,
or not helpful but interesting. I don't know.
Exactly.
All right, man.
Well,
from the fishbowl.
From the fishbowl.
Episode 5.
Yep. Episode 5, yeah. Wow. Getting along. This is Madfish.
And this is Joker. What kind of chocolate do you guys like?
Dark or milk?
See ya.
Curiouser and curiouser.